So, Marty, what have you brought me down here for today? It's not exactly the best of days, but...
Right, so what's wrong with that? In case you hadn't noticed, Justin, it's nearly November, right? The sun doesn't shine here in the summer, so I don't know what you were expecting at this time of year.
Is there food involved today?
Yes, we are going down to get a bite to eat with William McLennan in the Bothy.
Oh, right, at Whitepark Bay?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to walk there? It's a right few miles there.
No, Justin, because if you had to walk there, we wouldn't be there by Christmas. It'd be turkey we'd be eating.
It's just beside Whitepark Bay, so we'll have a look there before we get there.
We will. We'll have a wee look and see what's going on. But we're in a unique place because this Port and Navy car park is one of the only places in the world that you can see 5 whisky regions. You can see Islay, Campbelltown, which is down over here. You can see the Highlands and the Lowlands, and you're also standing in Ireland.
Look
5
down
whisky
there,
regions.
there's the Ropebridge, which is shut until 2022.
At least.
Are we nearly there yet, Marty?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, we're nearly there. Now we're at Whitepark Bay. And Whitepark Bay is interesting because I think it's the only place in Northern Ireland where you're allowed to graze cows on the beach. So they're down here. Justin will cut in here, won't you?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm allowed to cut into a steak?
Hopefully, when we get to the Bothy, we'll get a steak there, and that'll be one of them cows.
I think they do that lovely stuff, not that healthy sort of food, rather than the steaks.
So it'll be a vegan steak, is that it?
Something like that.
Meat-free steak.
It is.
We'll get coffee anyway.
We'll get coffee, and we'll try some of William's fantastic infused coffee. And if you
Yes.
haven't tried it, it makes an ideal gift. So we're down at the roastery at Whitepark Bay, Bothy, and William's going to roast some of his coffee beans. So he's working away at the minute. Explain to me what you're doing now, William.
This is a green bean, so this is our starting point. So this is the bean before it's roasted. So we stick it into the wee roaster. This is called fluid bed roasting. This is a wee bit different than what you normally get. Most coffee is drum roasted. This is fluid bed, so you've got hot air coming up from below. There's a gas burner and there's a blower in there. It's a bit like a popcorn machine, you know, but it's it just gives for a different way of roasting coffee. This goes right here. Yeah, hot air. That's it. If we had Justin here.
You sort of stole my thunder there. I reckon Justin could possibly do this professionally.
That's it. So, yeah. So it's hot air, so you can see the beans moving about. The beauty about this is, it makes for a different roast, you know. So drum roasting, it's going round and the drum, it's hitting the side of the drum. Sometimes you can get wee burn marks on the bean, you know, and that can affect the taste.
Scorch marks, so you get that accurate taste then.
Yeah, well, it can. Sometimes there you maybe get that wee bitter aftertaste, you know, with coffee. Hopefully with this, that doesn't seem to happen, you know. Or maybe I just do it badly, you know, but anyway. So that's it. So it's all about, again, weight. So I'll weigh out the beans for the roast. And there.
So is there a difference between the different beans then? Is there?
No. So these are all just different stages of the process. So you can see the beans starting to change colour here. So you have, as it goes through the roast, it'll start getting that, and say, well, keep an eye on the temperature here. In another couple of minutes, you'll hear it starting to make a cracking noise. So that's where you get the flavour starting to really develop there. You get first crack, what they call first crack, and really that's when I really need to keep an eye on the roast, because from that point it's very quick as to you can then go too far with your roast.
I can see it darkening down really quite quickly now.
Oh yeah. Say It's about 9 minutes for a roast. About 9 minutes.
And I can actually smell it. I can smell the difference coming out of it.
That's it. You're getting now. It doesn't smell like coffee. It smells like grass, like burnt grass.
Yeah. It smells like burnt grass. There's a sort of nutty effect to it as well.
So it's very different. The coffee smell that you get at the end is it's the gas coming off the bean, and that's the smell, But say at this stage here, it's just that burning. I just think burning grass, really, Can you hear the crack? It's starting to crack there. Yeah. So what you're hearing is actually a skin coming off, So there's an outer skin, and as it crack, that skin will come off, and it blows up, and it's collected up in here. That's called the chaff collector. So it's blowing it up and cracking. So this is where our flavour really is developing now. So if you want a real light roast, this is where you turn it off. We're not going to do a light roast. We're going for a wee bit more in that. Most of our coffee here is milk based, and if you're doing a milky coffee, you want sort of a medium roast,
Otherwise, the milk just dominates the whole thing, wouldn't it?
What happens with the light roast is very fruity and it's very acidy, and if you add it to milk, it'll actually sour the milk, and it's not a nice drink at all, So. Yeah, we're nearly there now. We're nearly there now. So, well, it's more about temperature, So I'm keeping an eye on the temperature here. I know the temperature I want to cut it at. So, and we're just getting up. We're going to be there in about a few. It's really quite quick at this stage, So there you are. So that's at the roast. I've turned the gas off there. It's now going to blow cold air up because you want to now stop the process. So cold air coming up will cool it down. So gas burner and an electric blower. That's what it is. So that's it. So you can see this one now where the colour's coming up on it too. So there you are.
And then, like Blue Peter, here's one we made earlier.
We'll get a few more beans going here. All three of these at once? Just work the three. They're all doing the same thing. Just to get the volume of coffee we need. This is, again, these are small roasters, So
now, from one of these roasters and one roasting, how many cups of coffee would you get per roast?
That's going to be it's a kilo of bean goes in. Once it's roasted, it's about 800 grams when it comes out, and that's going to be roughly 50 cups of coffee. 50 cups of coffee. So that's this coffee we're roasting comes from Colombia. It's an area called Nariño. So it's up in the mountains. It's about 1,700 meters above sea level. So it's pretty high up, which makes for good coffee. Say the higher you go up with coffee, the more sort of what they call specialty coffee, So down the valley you have your Robusta coffee, and then as you start going up you get Arabica coffee, and the higher up you go, the better flavour really you're getting. The more. Do you know? Yeah, totally. You say, the higher up. And again, coffee's all about the climate, So most coffee's growing in around the equator, and what it needs is that heat during the day, but then being up in the mountains in the evening, cool down, and that's, again, just like with anything, it's developing sugars then, within that, and that's what the whole thing's about. So what I'm roasting this week, we will use next week. Yeah. So when it's roasted, you want it to sit and what they call degas. So when you roast coffee, you start off a chemical reaction, and that it's giving off a bit of gas, with that. So it sits, it degasses, and that's, you know, the smell. As I say, you get that smell of coffee. That's a degassing. When it's first roasted, if you were to grind that now, it wouldn't be that nice, you know. 3 or 4 days, you're getting there. If you're going to use it in an espresso machine, you want about 5 days, 6 days maybe, before you put it through the espresso machine, you know. So as I say, we like to be about a week in that way. So you've got good, fresh, live coffee. It'll be like that for about 3 weeks. But that chemical reaction, you know, come by the end of 3 weeks, it'll just die, you know. So
Drying out, you think?
yeah, well, it's basically dead coffee then, you know. So all the goodness is not there. You still be okay. I mean, you can have coffee and use it, but you're definitely not getting the best of it, you know. Good, fresh coffee is what it's all about. I've done a bit of reading about coffee. Clearly, I like a bit of whiskey as well. So I was trying to, how can we get that flavour into the coffee? So coffee and whiskey together. Initially, I tried a number of things. You know, I was, you know, getting the coffee as it came out of the roaster. I was spraying it with whiskey, trying to get flavour. And then I came across an article about when they were shipping coffee years ago, the green bean, whatever barrel they put the green bean in, the beans took on the flavour of the barrel. So the next thing to do was, I wonder where I could get an empty whiskey barrel, you know. So
Not to give away trade secrets.
not to give away trade secrets. I asked a few nice people, and I managed to get a barrel. So we got the barrel, we dried it out, we put beans in it, we roll the barrel every morning. I can't tell you for how long. That's the secret bit,
Yeah.
you know. But when it's reached the right time, you then take the beans out and we roast them. And what you have is a whiskey flavoured coffee. You're good with smells, Justin,
Right, yep.
right? So
That reminds me very much of a type of chicken feed. There's a very cereal note off that. It's like barley husks or something like that.
yeah, right. I'm just going to dig here and get you some more to smell. Okay.
Okay.
I need you to put your head into this. Do you smell this one? Have a smell of that one.
That's good. That smells
Slightly fermented. Slightly
It's
fermented.
not fermented. It smells like wort before it goes into whiskey. Yeah, that's exactly what that smells.
Well, that's the bean out of the barrel. So it is before we roast it.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely has that. It's got that alcoholic wort tones of it.
Yeah.
But in terms of whiskey, I'm up another group.
No.
It definitely has that the wort and that.
There's a bit of a story about the behind the beans that we use. It was a wet day in the coffee shop here, and I had just been learning how to roast coffee. And this girl comes in, starts talking about coffee, asks us where we get our coffee from. I happened to mention we're starting to roast our own coffee. She said, "Where are you getting your beans from?" I said, "Well, to be honest, we don't really know where we're going to get them." And she says, "Can I leave you in some beans?" And I went, "Yeah, sure." So she's a girl from Coleraine. Turns out she went out to live in Colombia, met a Colombian, married him, and his family are coffee farmers. So they're now back living in Coleraine, and they're exporting coffee direct from Nariño, the area that Frank's from, and say so
Just by stroke of luck.
just by stroke of luck. So, and we get all our coffee from them, and they're great because I mean Frank knows a lot about coffee, and he's able to keep me right with with my roasting and everything. So yeah.
So it's about as local, really, as you can't grow coffee beans in the North Coast. That's a definite no-no.
Well, that's it. That is it.
So it's about as local as you can possibly get.
It's a yes. It is.
So what happens now once they're roasted? You bag them up then?
We do. Well, the stuff that we're using in the coffee shop, we keep, obviously, but then stuff we're selling, we bag up for selling. So we do. So that's it. I can show you.
There we go.
There we go. That's what you're looking for.
Yes, it's very well presented. Irish whiskey coffee, small batch made, whole bean, the Bothy Whitepark Bay. There you go.
See?
Coffee, though.
I don't know. You might get a smell of this one here. This is it when it's roasted now.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It's almost like a winey, like it's a
Wow.
fortified wine note off
Yeah,
that.
that's delicious.
Yeah, that's like fortified wine note off that.
So, yeah.
I wasn't really getting them that, but when you smell that, it's really,
Yeah.
really quite tangy. It goes
Yeah,
right through.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So there you go. So now you know where to get your